believe like remote cultures, you get pushed so much more for results than just being a warm body there. It's more important like what you're doing compared to just being present. So an office job, all right, you could go in there for 8 hours. You could like sit back, you could chill, you could drink your coffee, you can take whatever breaks. And it's okay, I'm stereotyping some office jobs, but some of it you could just hang out and it wouldn't matter. In a remote world, if you're just hanging out and you're on the clock, like that feels a lot different than just like BSing when you're sitting around talking with your coworkers. It's like you're not working. So I think it helps us set up those clear boundaries of like when you're on, you are super productive, get your stuff done, and then get off. So you can also enjoy life, because that's part of the joy of being remote is you can enjoy life and you can be anywhere you want in the world and you can take breaks anytime. You can walk outside or do whatever.
Hello, it's Alex from Remote Work Life here. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining the podcast. And if you've not listened to a podcast before, then you perhaps don't know that we're a community and a podcast where tech and digital marketing professionals from around the world with a shared interest in remote work come to learn how to grow a remote career or business. And what I'll be doing is I'll be interviewing CEOs, leaders, entrepreneurs in the remote workspace, just to share with you their ideas, their experiences, and how they've built their businesses and how they've built their careers, so that you can understand the benefits yourself of having a remote work life and build your own remote work life. I'll be your host, Alex Wilson-Campbell, along the way. And that particular segment that you just listened to is a piece from an interview that I did with the CEO of MuseumHack, Tasia Dusky. Tasia's got a great story because she transferred from a very corporate, laid out, I suppose, type of scenario to a startup, a very fast-paced, fluid scenario within a startup called MuseumHack. And in fact, her rise to the status of CEO has been a phenomenal rise, and she's building a successful business as she goes along. And MuseumHack, where you'll find MuseumHack at museumhack.com. And of course, I'll also leave the details in the show notes. MuseumHack do awesome museum tours, and MuseumHack leads renegade small group tours for people who think they don't like museums. So for me, if you like museums, then check out MuseumHack. And if you also thinking about getting into remote work, check out MuseumHack as well. But they have a certain type of personality, a certain type of culture that may suit you, it may not. And that's, I guess, the same for any business out there. But I love what Tasia is building. I love what she's doing with MuseumHack. I love the passion she shows for what she does, the energy, which is really, I suppose, instrumental in taking MuseumHack to where it is now. And what she was saying in that segment is that if you're working remotely, you have to be really vested in what you're doing. You have to be organized. You have to be productive. You have to, I guess, be very disciplined in many ways, because there's nobody there to tell you what to do. If you're sitting around watching the clock, then it's going to be quite a boring and quite monotonous day for you. And it's obviously, if you're in that situation, then it's not going to suit you. So those outcomes that she described are going to be so important when it comes to reporting back to your team. And if you're the kind of person who needs people around you to motivate you and inspire you, then remote work is not going to be for you. And she also talks about culture as well. You have to be really vested in the culture. You have to be an active participant in the culture of remote business. And I think that's something as well that Nick Francis of Help Scout shared with me as well. You have to be really in there. You have to get involved with what they're doing, because after all, the remote culture is something that is driven by the people. Whereas, in a co-located scenario, you can, I'm not saying that people within co-located scenarios do this, but you can drift if you want. You can just sit there, not necessarily be an active participant in the culture and what they're doing. You can just drift along, but you get found out if you do that in a remote business. And I think that's what Tasia was alluding to. So make sure you choose a remote business that is right for you. Don't just go and apply for any remote role because you want a remote job. That will not see you that will not give you the success you want, I guess, is what I'm trying to say when it comes to your application. Remote work or wanting to work remotely is not a reason for applying for jobs that are remote. You got to really find a company that you have some sort of connection with. You have to find a company that you have some sort of belief in, because if you don't, then you'll quickly find that it becomes a bit of a drag, and it becomes you'll suffer that. I guess you may suffer imposter syndrome because you feel as though you just don't quite fit, I guess, in the way that you perhaps imagined that you would. So that's my thought for this day, or for today, should I say. I'd love to hear your views on that. Get in touch, because I've left my my details as ever in the show notes. You can check out my LinkedIn in the show notes. You can join the group if you like. We have a group on Facebook where we're approaching now 1,000 members in the group. So come and join in, leave your questions there, ask your questions, make friends, make connections, and just come and say hello, I guess. And if you're on LinkedIn, connect with me by all means. And if you have any questions, let me know, and I will catch you in the next episode.